There he is. Good one too. I knew eventually one would grab it. That is a perfect picture of a post-spawn bass. Big head, skinny body, probably a male. A white swim jig. Got him. All right, let's let him go. Let him get back under that dock. We'll talk about how I caught him. You know, fishing docks is a really good way to catch post-spawn fish. Any lake that has docks that I've ever been to in the post-spawn, they will get on them. I feel like the reason why, two reasons really. Number one, those fish spawn. They'll get on the docks, they'll stage under those docks before they spawn, and then right after the spawn, they'll also stage under those docks because the shad spawn on those docks. It offers shade. A lot of times you'll see bluegill under those docks. And there's a lot of different pattern or a lot of different techniques that you can use to fish docks. One of my favorites is a white swim jig. That's just something that I throw a lot, particularly in the month of May. Really in the month of May, all across the south and the southeast for sure. Shad are spawning, fish are getting done bedding. And it's just a good way efficient way to fish docks. You can skip it up and under the slips. You know, you can use big line. You can get away with 20-pound line, a big rod, and you can just cover a lot more water than you can with, say, a wacky rig or something like that. So if I can get them to bite a swim jig, that's something that I always go to first. And it catches big fish too. I mean, I've caught some really big ones. I've had a couple of really good tournaments, particularly Chickamauga comes to mind. I had a good tournament there. Douglas Lake, I had a good tournament there a couple of years ago in May, throwing a white swim jig like this. And there are a lot of different ways to swim a jig. I mean, you've probably seen guys, I call it Coosa River style, those guys that throw those swim jigs and put big crawl-like trailers on them and really fish the bait up high and put a lot of action into the rod. The way I'm fishing this particular bait here, I just kind of throw it out there and I get it down below where I can actually see the jig, and I just want to swim it along with my rod, just kind of up and down, nothing real erratic. And I feel like that bait's probably 5 or 6 feet deep up and under that, and those fish are suspended under those docks, and it just looks like a big shad just kind of floating through there, and they'll bite it. All right, so when I'm looking at my setup for this swim jig, I throw a 1/2 ounce jig is what I throw. I throw a lot of hand-tied jigs. A shooter jig out of North Carolina. You guys have heard me talk about them before. That's a good one. I like that one a lot. He ties most all his jigs with a mustad hook. Very important. A 4 or a 5/0 works good. But that 1/2 ounce size, it skips really well. It's got the right fall rate when you put a big chunk on it. I throw the Exxon Lures Rebel chunk, white, just, you know, nothing special, just solid white. I throw 20-pound vicious, 100% fluorocarbon is what I like. It's a little bit stronger, I feel like, than the Pro Elite. So that's why I like the 100% for this particular technique. And the rod that I use for this normally is the MHX MB 844. You know, a lot of guys, when it comes to skipping baits around docks and stuff, I've known people that like a 7.4, I've known people that like a 7.6. For me, I like a 7 foot. So that's what I throw. That's a 7 foot heavy, the MB 844. Got plenty of power to horse a fish out from in under any dock if I need to. Got a little bit of tip so I can skip the bait. It's just the perfect setup for what I'm used to. There he is. Another good one. That is typical of this deal. I'm telling you, it's not something that you get a ton of bites doing, but normally, I mean, you'll get some good bites. And you don't, I mean, you saw that. He was pegged right in the roof of the mouth. See, that's a female. That's a post-spawn female. She probably spawned a couple of weeks ago, and she just hanging out under that dock, just feeding on whatever she can feed back up on, getting fat and getting ready for the summer. She's pretty. Thank you, girl. So when you look at a stretch of docks on a lake, not all docks are created equal. And if you fish docks very long, you will very quickly understand that some docks you can pull up to them just about any time and get a bite. And some docks, it's like a fish doesn't live under them. When you're looking at a section of docks, it's just like looking at a rocky bank or a grass mat. Look for something different, like this little bitty dock right here. That sticks out to me, and I may not get a bite on it right now, but I guarantee you they live under that dock. Something about those little bitty docks like that. Also, docks with walkways. They like to get under those walkways sometimes because that walkway offers shade all the way to the bank, where this particular dock doesn't. But what this dock has that most of them don't have is this dock actually has wooden poles going down. So this dock sticks out as well. So look at the size of the dock, look at where the dock is located. Another good place to look at for this particular pattern is marina slips. There's been a lot of big tournaments won this time of the year, particularly all across the southeast out of marinas, because, you know, just like I was saying earlier, shad spawn in those marinas, bluegill are always in those marinas. The marinas always offer a population of fish, so marina slips are always good as well. And same kind of deal when you're looking at marinas, just look for one that has activity. If you're seeing activity, there's probably some bass around.